with the Uncharted story. It's not just the story thing. I think it's like I see why the average gamer doesn't enjoy Uncharted 3 as much as I do, because it reminds me a lot of those movies we grew up on, where Indiana Jones come out and become popular, and it had all the copycats.
Yeah.
Which was itself really just an homage to those old school action adventure treasure hunt style stories from like the 30s and 40s.
Yeah, and honestly, Uncharted 3 is when the concept of Nathan Drake really came into its own.
Yeah. And it's like, I love it, because I'm like doing things I've been watching, like I get into a fight in a cargo plane with the friggin' hatch open. I got into a fight on top of a train, on a movie train. You know, I had to go up against a tank. I had to wander through the desert for a train. I'm like, I feel like I'm actually living the action adventure. No, Momo. No. 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 Wait an hour. Me and my professionalism, I left my notes in the other room. Hold on.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the first High Class Geek news we've done in a while. Sorry, due to weather.
That, folks.
Yeah, due to weather and other items we weren't able to do the last couple of weeks.
Mainly it was weather.
And I'm hoping Evan's not going to make us go over 3 weeks worth of news stories, because we don't have that kind of time.
Yes and no. I mean, I've just boiled it down to the most interesting. With the exception of miscellaneous and obituaries, I try not to go over 7 stories, and some don't come anywhere close to that.
Yeah, so let's get it going.
Yeah. Just, apologies, people. Jixie, who's not here, they're not here with us at the moment, and we live in North Carolina, and we've had some very bad weather the last few weeks, and that tends to interrupt things, like internet and power. So, welcome back to High Class Geek News. I'm your friendly neighborhood geekazoid, Evan Ransom. I am joined today by the Dwarficon himself, John Little.
Hi, everybody.
Well, I'm sure spent that brief pause going, I already said hi to everybody, Evan, while you were off getting the notes that you forgot about, because it's been too long since we've done this.
Actually, no, you started glitching out there for a minute, so I wasn't sure if you were done talking.
Ah. Well, there we go. Anyway, tonight's episode, The Greatest Loss. You should know what our main story is based on that.
I'm assuming you're referring to Muhammad Ali.
Yep. This is a guy who's
just like
Bowie, just like Alan Rickman, but in a far different but equally legendary way, has been a staple of our lives. And God damn it, 26. Well, I'm less bothered by this than the other, simply because I think we knew it was coming for a while.
True, and I think before we even get moving, I think we should take a minute to comment about what happened this weekend.
You can if you want to. As I said when we said privately, I don't give those assholes attention.
I'm not going to mention. I'm not going to sit here and go.
Just for a moment, what I mean specifically, people, is I'm talking about the shooters. In my opinion, people who do these kinds of shootings, they just want attention, and I personally refuse to give it to them.
And yeah, I'm not disagreeing with you, but it is
to say something about it. So go ahead.
It is still, again, one of the greatest tragedies our country's seen in a while. Certainly, as it's been stated by the media, it is now the most massive shooting in this country. I mean, I think at the last count, it was 50 confirmed deceased and 53 in the hospital. So I know that a lot of folks are hurting out there, and I think the smartest thing any of us can do is just try and figure out how to help. Many of us remember growing up with Mr. Rogers, and Mr. Rogers would always say things like, when you're in time of crisis, look for the helpers, and if you can't find them, be one. And I agree with that. So get out, help out however you can, donate blood, do whatever you can to help. And don't feed the media. Don't sit here and scream and rage about gun control or anything like that. Just worry about helping now.
Don't be.
We can figure everything else.
Baptist Church.
We can figure everything else out once we get everything stable. So don't let your anger rule you guys. And let's move on to the fun stuff.
Right. All right. As said, we lost Muhammad Ali, among other deaths we're dealing with this weekend. Sorry. As usual, the only thing that annoys me as much as the crime itself is how some people treat it. Like Trump saying, see, I was right. Because he backpedals on himself so damn often, he has to be right at some point. Westboro Baptist Church claiming that God sent the shooter because professional assholes.
I think what was it? The Texas Lieutenant Governor quoting, "You will reap what you sow." Pat Robertson stating that it is God's, God's vengeance for the gay marriage decision. Blah blah blah. Yeah.
I'm trying to remind myself that this is how bad things were in the 50s and 60s, particularly if you were of my complexion. So I can remind myself that this is a period that can be gotten past as time goes on.
No matter what the tragedy is, it's always be gotten past. It just takes time.
Yeah.
And sadly, these kind of tragedies happen. And the best thing we can do during these periods of time is not let our anger rule us. I'm not saying forgive and forget, but work through, help others. So again, let's move on to the fun stuff.
Right. And fun stuff it is as we move into films. Guess what trailer came out this week?
Which one?
Yoga Hosers.
Yes, it did. And
guaranteed to be the best movie you ever see with Bratzies.
God, looking forward to that film, kind of. Of course, I'm not going to lie. I'm kind of looking forward to the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
It's already out.
I know. I haven't seen it yet. I just saw Civil War last week. I'm behind.
No, what's important isn't when you saw Civil War. It's that you did, and you witnessed the beauty.
I did, and I witnessed the beauty.
Did you weep? It's okay to weep.
There was weep.
It's about as close to perfection as you could get. I mean, best Spider-Man we've seen on screen so far. Hot May. Black Panther done to perfection.
I can agree with you that one. That was a perfect Black Panther. Really perfect.
And on top of that, it did something. What came out recently? X-Men. It did something that X-Men just couldn't pull off. Which it had a cast of like roughly a dozen characters. Each one had an arc. Each one had a plot or subplot.
True.
And it did it. They each, no character was ignored. They all had their complete beginning, middle, and ends. There's no like cheating in it. It's all earned. And at the same time, somehow, it never stops really being a Captain America movie.
No, I'll agree with that. And it was well worth it. I am looking forward to the next film we get.
Well, they're doing Avengers after this.
Yeah, I know. I'm just trying to remember which film comes out next.
The next one is Doctor Strange.
Yeah, which I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, which this just had me looking forward to the next Avengers film, the Black Panther film, Spider-Man Homecoming. Like,
indeed.
So good. And I got to say it, Zemo is by far one of the best villains they've done in the cinematic universe so far.
I'll agree. They did a phenomenal job on Zemo. Especially considering that in the actual comic book universe, he's one of the most ridiculous-looking characters I've ever seen.
The sock over the head? Well, they got
the entire magenta sock body with the kingly fluff. Yeah, and no.
Well, the important thing is that there's a reason Zemo lasted, and they latched onto that, which is he is an excellent chess master style villain.
Absolutely.
And they play that to the hilt in this movie. Yeah, and I swear one of the best scenes in a film so far this year was that last one between Zemo and Black Panther. And I love that line, the living aren't done with you yet.
Yep. No, that was a phenomenal scene.
Yeah. Speaking of things that were awesome and coming to movie theaters, possibly, we're getting the fourth reboot for Battlestar Galactica, except this time it's coming to a theater near you. Movie series, not a TV series. Not the first time Battlestar Galactica has been your movie theater. It's what blew the budget of the original series.
Well, let's hope they don't fuck it up again.
They got their templates. Here's how I'm looking at it. It's if they do worse than Galactica 1980, that's kind of an achievement.
That's true. I'll give you that one.
So, yeah, I'll either be satisfied or impressed.
It's a win-win.
What else is this news shocked me. Something else is coming to theaters.
Oh God, what is this now?
Batman: The Killing Joke.
Oh, I did read about that, and I am so looking forward to it, especially because they got Hamill back again.
Yes. This is going to be the first time that Disney Animated has released a theatrical release since Batman: Mask of the Phantasm.
And do you remember what it's going to be rated?
R.
Because doing a PG-13 Killing Joke would just be
Look,
raw.
I'm just saying, if you've read the original comic, you got to see Gordon's dick. Okay? Show us the goods, DC. Show us the goods. Another one. This is one of those things. Because of who's attached, this is clearly going to happen, and I am just fucking amazed by this. Sacha Baron Cohen will be starring in Mandrake the Magician. For those who don't know, that is a very old school Pulp Fiction character that transferred to comics along with like the Phantom and Flash Gordon. But they usually are considered in the same universe with each other, those characters. They even had their own Saturday morning cartoon show in the 80s where the Phantom couldn't have his guns because 80s. But yeah, it's just amazing.
I definitely find funny because if you remember in the 80s, we had toys that looked like real guns. They were advertised that way.
Oh, God, the original Megatron.
Oh, God, yeah.
It's amazing that looked like a robot when you transformed it because it really looked like a freaking gun.
Well, considering they made the original ones out of die-cast metal, yeah, it felt like a real goddamn gun.
Oh, God. You know what? This seems like a running theme. Things you will not believe are coming to theaters. John, we've been hearing about this since we were, like, teenagers. And apparently it's finally happening. They have an actress attached. They have a script. After all these years, we are getting a Battle Angel Alita live-action film.
Ooh. Navy SEALs.
Like, how long has James Cameron been trying to get this thing made?
Well, true.
Like, since at least the mid-90s, right?
True. I'm still waiting to hear about casting for Ready Player One. I'm still waiting to hear about any casting for Ready Player One.
They already released some casting news. I left it to the side for now because there wasn't anything that wowed me with the casting yet. Like, established actors, but not well-known actors. It's like, no, we hired Robert Downey Jr. to play a role. No, they haven't said anything like that yet. If something major like that happens, believe me, you'll know. There's lots of casting news I left out. There's Homecoming casting news I left out, for God's sakes. Because I'm like, who the hell is this kid? Let's see. It's another thing I love about Aunt May. For once, we finally have an Aunt May that looks like she's the age of somebody who would have a nephew that's Peter Parker's age.
True.
Speaking of Spider-Man, you remember how a couple of times it popped up that they were going to do two movies, a live-action one, which is Spider-Man Homecoming, and an animated one?
Yeah.
It's been confirmed that the theatrical Spider-Man the theatrical animated Spider-Man movie is Miles Morales' Spider-Man movie.
Nice. I am down for that.
Yes. I need to cosplay this. Oh, by the way, in case you haven't noticed, John, after all these years, I finally have the matching set.
Well, good on you.
Moving on to TV news, we now Netflix has made an exclusive deal with Disney, which means if you want anything related to Disney, Star Wars, or Marvel, and just don't want it in your Blu-ray or DVD collection, you got to go through Netflix now.
Oh, I have a feeling that is really a thorn in the side of Hulu. Because I'll admit, lately Hulu's been doing a little better in terms of shows they're getting. Now, Netflix has got some great originals, but classic shows I grew up on, Hulu's been ruling that. And now the fact that anything Marvel, Disney, or Star Wars related is all going to Netflix. Ooh, Hulu.
That's a big blow to them. Amazon, though Amazon can make up for it because they actually have some pretty good original content now.
Oh, man, Hulu.
That's a major blow to virtually every streaming service.
Yeah.
Honestly, the only thing that disappoints me about Hulu, I have their service now, and it's just like, so far I haven't come across a series I can't watch on Netflix or Amazon. And
honestly,
though it's commercial free because I am trying the pay service for a bit, I can't get the whole of a current season. I can only get the last 4 or 5 episodes still.
That frustrates me, is because it'll be a running season, but let's say you miss the first 2 or 3 episodes, and it'll immediately start at episode 4, and it's just if you're gonna run the whole season, have the whole season available.
Yeah, because I can only watch so much television these days. I've been so focused on getting through Star Trek. I'm on Deep Space Nine now, by the way.
Good. You need a little Ferengi in your life.
The motherfucking Cisco. I think it's just the list of things he did in the first 3 episodes alone blows what most captains on the series have done in a single season.
Plus, he's just got that wonderful baritone.
I know, right? I love that scene. I love rewatching the scene with him and Picard, and he's makes Picard almost shit his pants twice in one conversation. It's we've met before, sir, in battle at Wolf 459. Oh yeah, the one where I was a Borg again. Oh. Speaking of awesomeness hitting our TV screens, it looks like we're going to be getting a live-action series based off of the video game Mirror's Edge.
That could be interesting.
Yeah, well, have you played either of the?
Yeah, no, I played the first one.
Yeah, got that and the second one. It does take a genius. If you've just started that game, even before the gameplay comes up, you can see how you can easily make a television show out of it.
Oh yeah.
Hell, even the games themselves are less there's no beating the revolution or something like that, starting a revolution or anything like that in the game. It's a very episodic kind of a thing they're doing. It's you do not change the world. This is just a story taking place in it.
Yeah.
All I'm saying, just make sure you get an Asian American actress, and we should be good. Yeah, that'll be good stuff there. Just saying. Get in my tea. Anyway. Also, Brian Michael Bendis and Alex Maleev's creator-owned Scarlet will also be coming to television screens, it seems. For those who don't know, that's an independent. Independent. They own the comic technically, but Marvel publishes it for them through the Icon imprint. But it's a comic about a girl who decides to rebel, basically just trying to make her own way in society, and accidentally starts a revolution.
Yeah, I read the first couple of issues of that. I'm not super into it.
Yeah, I've read the first issue. And it just reeked of Bendis's poor pacing. The more I read Bendis' stuff, the more I see where the flaws are. One of them is that he will spend way too much. He spends an entire issue with characters just talking when story should be happening. We get it. You're really good at dialogue. It got you where you are. I still want story to happen. I want the plot to move along.
I remember watching Linkara's review of it, of number 1, 2 weeks after I read the first one. I'm like, yeah, that angry little troll is just about right.
Yeah. I don't always agree with Linkara, but one thing's for sure, when he's right, he is right.
Yeah, pretty much.
Really enjoyed his review of the Superman versus Spider-Man comic.
No, I'll watch that one. I haven't watched that one yet.
Yeah, it's really good. It's the closest you're going to get to reading it because that thing's almost impossible to find.
Yeah.
Also coming to TV, Turns out what was originally going to be a theatrical sequel has now turned to what looks to be a 10-episode miniseries or possibly full-on series, Kevin Smith's Mallrats.
I love you, Kevin Smith. We don't need another Mallrats.
No, it's he's fulfilling a promise to a friend of his who died, sadly.
I know.
I'm sure he's got a story there.
Well, let's hope.
And TV has been good to him so far. I mean, were you here? You were here. Oh, that's right. You were here when when one of our stories was he's doing the Buckaroo Banzai series.
Yeah.
I'm going to say that one for last. We're getting a new Justice League cartoon called Justice League Action. I don't like the character designs.
Is it the, children-oriented designs?
It feels like this is can't call it the Justice League equivalent of Teen Titans Go. It's more like them trying to take Justice League and make it look like the first Teen Titans cartoon, and you don't need to be genius to figure out why that doesn't work.
Yeah, okay, so it's a bit more like, Marvel Greatest Heroes. Or Avengers Greatest Heroes on Netflix, where they're kind of chibi and shrunk down and made to look kind of cutesy.
Yeah, a little bit. There's definitely an anime influence there. 2 bits of news involving Supergirl. I'm going to have to watch all the first season now so I can catch up when it gets to CW. 1, they're finally doing what CBS should have done, just bit the fucking bullet. They are casting Superman.
Huzzah!
They're not going to go around it. Here's hoping, just for the sake of continuity, just for the sake of in network continuity, they get Tom Welling. He deserves a chance to wear the S.
Agree.
Also, Melissa Benoist's stunt woman was on American Ninja Warrior recently, where she became the first woman to complete. I think this is not the first woman to do it, but she beat the record, especially for women, for beating the course completely in a Wonder Woman outfit.
Completely approve.
Yeah. And finally, I don't normally bring up America's Got Talent, but I have a new hero.
Is it the old man that's saying bodies hit the floor?
Yes, this is the old man who's saying bodies hit the floor. That was awesome.
I'm sorry. If it had been good, I'd buy it. I really would. But it wasn't even good. It was just the fact that he had the audacity to... I'm sorry. The little old man that came out like a year ago with the Einstein hair and the mustache and sang the song about she's got style, she's got flair, she's got that, she's got a penis was way better.
Oh my God, that guy was awesome.
Exactly. Just because an old man gets up and screams bodies hit the floor, I see that every day down in downtown Dubuque. There's one little homeless guy who sits out there screaming metal lyrics, but he doesn't belong on TV either.
I think my favorite is still the incredibly weird-looking goth punk dude who has one of the most beautiful opera voices you will ever hear in your life.
Agreed.
Anyway.
And again, just because you have the audacity to do something does not mean you should, does not mean you're good at it, and certainly doesn't mean you should be on TV for it.
Anyway, video game news. We got our first look at the Batman the Telltale Game series game. And it looks beautiful.
It's Telltale. They always do a good job.
Yep. And I'm glad that they're using they're not doing celebrity voice or anything. They're going for like known video game voices, like Troy Baker will be Batman.
Mm-hmm.
Things like that. That makes me happy. Another one that makes me happy, I'm so glad this got announced. I fucking love you, E3. We're getting Injustice 2.
Injustice 1 wasn't that good.
I loved Injustice 1.
It wasn't that good.
Games worse than that got a sequel. Why shouldn't this one get one?
Games better than that didn't get a sequel. Why don't we go to that pile?
Because I like this one.
Well, just because you like it doesn't make it the greatest game of the year.
You said it was the greatest game of the year. Just gets a sequel. And now you get to play both this, they add characters like Supergirl and Batman Beyond. I'm looking forward to this.
Mm.
That, and without that game, we don't get that wonderful moment between Harley Quinn and Black Canary in the comic.
Which one?
The one where Black Canary gives birth to her kid.
Oh yeah, the muzzle.
Yes. That justifies the game's existence alone.
Understandable.
And finally, in Call of Duty, it turns out the main villain will be played by Game of Thrones' Kit Harington.
Well, awesome. I don't know about you. I really haven't cared about Call of Duty since...
I haven't either. I never did.
Wait, that's right.
Kit Harington.
I haven't ever played any of the Call of Duty, and I don't want to.
Let's pray, because the last time Kit Harington did something that involved a video game, it was that second Silent Hill movie.
True.
Comic book!
Moving on.
It's recently been revealed the most recent issue of Steve Rogers' Captain America that apparently he's been hailing Hydra for over 70 years.
Yeah, I remember seeing stories and the internet kind of blew up.
You people, I love how the mainstream, it never fails. You and I both know how this is going to end. But yet people are genuinely mad about this. It's like, have you learned nothing from when we killed off Superman back in 1994? Oh God.
But you know what this means?
Hail Hydra?
You know what this means? No. U.S. agent is coming back.
He never went away.
I know, but he's not in charge of the Avengers no more.
Was he ever in charge of the Avengers?
Oh God, yeah, late 90s.
Oh God, nope. Late 90s. No, not late 90s.
Sorry. Late 80s.
Yeah, late 80s makes sense. They won't accept
That's half the reason he was fucking created, was to be a replacement for Captain America for a short period of time.
He is a very underutilized character to me.
Well, so is Captain Britain.
That's because not enough people... You know what? They need to make the Alan Moore run more available. That's why.
You know what? I want to see a comic where the captains of all the countries come together.
Maybe we'll get a Captain Britain movie soon. They're introducing the multiverse with Doctor Strange, and you can't do Captain Britain without the multiverse.
True.
And I'm kind of feeling...
I'd like to see more Excalibur.
Captain Britain.
Yeah, I'd like to see an Excalibur film because Nightcrawler really got expounded upon a lot more in Excalibur more so than he did in X-Men.
I'm pretty sure if they do an Excalibur film, I think 20th Century Fox has the rights, but they won't be able to use all the characters because so many of them are just their characters that Marvel Studios own the rights to, since they only have the X-Men characters, and that's half of Excalibur is X-Men or former X-Men, and half of Excalibur is like Marvel UK characters.
True.
So that kind of thing. Anyway. Amazon, who owns Comixology, has started Comixology Unlimited. For $6 a month, you can freely borrow or thousands upon thousands of titles, not from the big two, Marvel or DC, which Marvel already has their own unlimited thing, so I kind of see that. DC is just lowering prices, so they're not doing more than $2.99 for the regular books, which is still cool in and of itself. But for pretty much every other publisher, this is a good way to start taking a look at some things where you're just like, is this my thing? Do I want to read this?
Yeah.
Thousands of titles, thousands of issues, lots of trades. I'm finally going to finish off the first few issues of Wicked and Divine and see if I want to read that whole series. I read the first issue, was really good. It just had a bad memory attached to it.
Okay, sounds like a plan.
Yep. The most recent issue of Howard the Duck involved a reunion. After all these years, Howard the Duck was reunited with actress Leah Thompson.
Oh, good Lord.
Who made a special appearance in the comic. This trended on Facebook, John.
Oh, good Lord.
I wish I read the issue. I wonder if she tried to have sex with him again.
I'm sure he tried to hint at it the entire episode, the entire issue.
No, in the comics, he's not that into human women. And he's already got a new sidekick for his series. But anyway. Also, Marvel has revealed the new Marvel Now logo, where it's the previous Marvel Now logo, except shattered and in pieces.
Foreboding, I think.
Well, they are going through a civil war, too.
Mm.
I feel bad.
I'm waiting for Marvel Cold War. Where nobody actually fights. It's just the characters sitting around their individual bases, you know, getting uncomfortable and feeling really antsy. Nothing actually happens.
You know what I would like to see? It may sound kind of weird. I would love to see a Marvel series where it's not the heroes who are at war, but literally the countries in the Marvel universe who are. Like there's some kind of event created where it's like they go at each other and it really is World War III in the Marvel universe. And how the characters have no personal issues or problems with each other, but how they feel in various ways, to various extents, beholden to the countries they represent.
I don't know. I can see where you're going with that, but I can honestly say, given most characters aren't going to stand up and fight. They're not going to get involved in the war. They're going to stay back. They're like, look, we create an unfair advantage. A lot more people will get hurt if we get
20, 30 years ago, maybe. These days, not so much.
Actually, I think that would be a more interesting comic is, you know, the countries are going to war and the collective groups of those countries file a peace agreement, and literally it's just commentary on them trying to get their countries to stop. So they're almost creating an insurrection in their own countries because they're fighting, you know, they're fighting to sabotage their own countries and getting involved in a war that shouldn't happen.
I would so read that. Look for mine and John's World War III comic coming out for Marvel's big crossover event in summer of 2017.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll hire us.
Yeah. And finally, IDW has announced Revolution, a big company-wide crossover involving all their Hasbro properties.
Oh, good Lord. All I'm going to say is if I don't see Duke riding inside of Optimus Prime, fuck that.
Duke riding Optimus Prime with Rom Space Knight on his shoulder firing Micronauts.
Exactly. Because we all know who freaking oh god, Storm Shadow, not Storm Shadow. Damn it, Snake Eyes is gonna fucking ride.
I feel like Snake Eyes should be taken out immediately, but that just gives the Joes an unfair advantage. He's got the Batman problem. I find it funny how everyone argues Superman's too powerful to make him interesting, and I'm like, yeah, but Batman's too unbeatable. Anywho.
I look at it this way. At that point in time, during the Batman problem, you have to take a line from Harry Dresden. Cheat.
That's what he always does. That's why he's unbeatable. All right, for the last few weeks in obituaries, Beth Howard, age 74, who you may remember as Vera from the series Alice. If you're a Trauma fan, Joe Fleischacker at age 62. If you're a fan of independent comics, creator of the comic series Mama, Mel Lazarus, passed away at 89. John Karageorgis, sorry if I can't pronounce some names, from the Real Housewives of New Jersey. Kimbo Slice, mixed martial arts fighter, age 42. Teresa Saldana, age 61, an actress you may know from The Commish. No, not The Commish, The Shield, I believe, among others.
No, it's Commish.
Yeah. And speaking of shootings, and talk about history seeming to repeat itself, Christina Grimmie, who was a singer that was competing on The Voice, went to a concert, And it turns out Psycho fans who thinks it's a good idea to shoot their idols has not gone out of style yet. God damn it. Thank God for science.
Science!
It has been, it's okay. It has been allowed now to try to create essentially actual real-life genetic chimeras where we will be combining 2 or 3 different animals in order to see if we can figure out new cures for diseases we haven't quite thumped yet. No word on whether or not we'll be making any Bellerophons.
I'm just waiting for dead animals to come back. InGen is coming. InGen is coming.
You want 28 pet cemeteries later? This one makes me really, really happy. It has been approved. The HIV vaccine is going to clinical trials.
Woohoo!
We're that much closer, people. We've added 4 new elements to the periodic table.
I know.
No word on the John Little one.
It's not possible to recreate it. So it can never be added to the periodic table of elements. It's the rarest element in the world.
Yep. And Kyoto, Japan has finished their analysis. They set some guidelines on how to handle like technology and things, saying if you want to decrease the percentage in emissions, saying it would actually lower them. And all 36 countries who actually followed the guidelines, this is not counting like some of them who thought that they could sort of, there was wiggle room that didn't actually exist in those guidelines. All the ones who actually followed them to the letter, it's working.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they have decreased pollution. They have decreased the carcinogens in the air. We are not screwed yet, people. All we need is for people to actually listen.
But we all know how easily that's going to work.
There's a very real chance we're going to have Trump for president, if that doesn't tell you anything, which will be coming up later. I don't usually go politics, but when something hilarious happens, oh, you're damn right I'm bringing it up. But as we move on to miscellaneous, starting with this, there are just some things I put onto this list just so I can see what John thinks about it. Anything involving sculpting, toys, all that is definitely where we have to get John's opinion. John, have you seen the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles arcade game figures yet?
No, actually I haven't. I'm going to have to check that out.
Yes. They're making a line of action figures based off of the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles arcade game, which was made, of course, into the console game Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, the arcade game.
Oh, God. I'm sorry. I still kind of miss the days where you went to an arcade to get better graphics and bigger games because home consoles just didn't match up yet. So I'm really hoping that, you know, the game manufacturers will really step up and start bringing arcades back.
Raleigh has an arcade.
I know.
With a bar.
I know. Des Moines has 2 of them.
Geeks Unite! So Japan, nothing's too weird for Japan. I don't know if this is weirder than usual for them or more normal than usual for them. But I guess in celebration of the upcoming movie crossover, they had the actresses who played the respective ghosts from The Grudge and The Ring toss the first pitch at a baseball game in character.
Oh, Lord Japan.
It's hilarious seeing them in an actual... Okay, first of all, quick reminder, people, most horror movie monsters just don't belong in the daytime.
Yeah.
It takes away some of the mystique. You're just... Oh, you gotta see it.
That just kind of pisses me off that they never did that with Freddy or Jason.
Oh, with the catcher's
Thrown out the first
coming out.
And thrown out a first pitch in a ball game. I would have loved to see Robert Englund do that in character.
You know, I learned a fun fact about Robert Englund.
What's that?
Well, with all the Star Trek I've been watching, as you know, one of the most famous episodes of all time of any Star Trek series is The Trouble with Tribbles.
Yeah.
And that was the very first sale the writer of that episode had ever done. So he had a big party at his house with all of his classmates in this local art school.
Mm-hmm.
Turns out one of those classmates is a man he calls Bob, who is, or as we know him, Robert Englund, who after the episode aired and they watched it said, "Oh my God, this thing is great. You have made a classic. This is fantastic. People can remember it for 3 years." And I was like, "No, come on, man. People are going to forget this in a week." The moral of the story is, listen to Robert Englund. The man is not an idiot. If he tells you got a classic, you've got a classic.
Robert Englund knows because he's seen it in your dreams.
And I'm glad I brought up Star Trek because I never thought I'd say this, but I might need to buy some Barbie dolls. For Star Trek's 50th anniversary, Barbie is releasing doll figures of Kirk, Spock, and Lieutenant Uhura. And they look really good. Love was put into these Barbie dolls.
Well, Evan, I won't give you shit for that, but when the My Little Pony figures come out, you can hold off.
No, I'm not. I'm not touching that. No. Well, maybe it's Cisco Pony.
Okay, I can fully get behind a Cisco Pony and a Quark Pony.
Yeah. Oh my God! I want to see the Quark Pony. I want to see a Ferengi pony. I just want to see a Ferengi pony so bad. It's just. Ooh, it'll either be the cutest thing ever, or it'll be the stuff of nightmares.
I've got some clay. I'll see what I can come up with.
John Oliver wins for Awesome Person of the Year.
Oh, fuck yeah, considering he bought $15 million in medical debt just because he could to prove a point and then forgave it all. Hey, John Oliver, try doing that with student loan debt next.
Oh, God, I wish we didn't have that thing in the Constitution that says you have to be born in this country to be president. I'd vote John Oliver.
Only if Jon Stewart runs as mate.
I'd vote for Jon Stewart as president. You were born in this country. Do it! Now, the way things are going, I think it's safe to say, no matter how the election ends later in the year, you're going to need a drink.
Agreed.
Fortunately, Mortal Kombat's got you covered with the new Mortal Kombat beer.
Ew. That's all I can say is ew.
Because sometimes you look at who wins and thinks, I need a fatality.
Yeah, doesn't sound appetizing in the slightest.
Remember how earlier I said that Trump was going to be coming up?
Yes.
So, someone on Twitter or Tumblr or something like that, I guess he got really annoyed at all the news about how Trump supporters are, to put it succinctly, assholes. And rather violent and offensive ones at that. So, in hopes of fighting back, he released an image of a Trump supporter who was bloodied up at a rally because she was beaten up and attacked by peace-loving Democrats and liberals. There was just one tiny little problem. The picture was not a Trump supporter.
Nope.
The picture was an actress named Samara Weaving. And it was her makeup test for an episode she's doing of Ash versus the Evil Dead. And if there was any doubt to that, the person who ultimately debunked this the most is frickin' Bruce Campbell himself.
Yeah, Bruce Campbell should never be able to call you out.
Yeah.
But he did.
Look, just regardless of your politics, okay, this is just a simple thing. This is a simple rule. John can tell you I argue a lot, far more than I probably should. So I'll tell you one thing I know about arguing is if you have to lie to win, then you don't have a point.
Agreed.
Yeah, it's you've lost the argument. Simple as that. Hot Wheels is releasing a yellow submarine in celebration of the Beatles anniversary.
Yeah, not impressed.
We all live in a yellow submarine. Yellow submarine. Yellow submarine.
That's great. I don't need a Hot Wheels car for that.
God, every time you're like down there in the little corner, it's like because of the lack of detail, it's so dark in that room. It's like you kind of look like one of those guys from like that old school MTV like haunted house reality show game thing, where it's like the old lights off your.
I feel like half the time I'm working in some seedy warehouse in Atlantic City. Somebody comes up, and I just look at him and go, "You here for the shoes?"
No one
okay, I'll do it, but it's gonna be like.
I was waiting for you to take off your hat and start ranting, doing your best. Godfather. What the hell is that guy's name? Best impression of the fat dude from Apocalypse Now.
No. I'm just working some seedy warehouse. You here for the shoes?
No, I'm here for the Ark of the Covenant.
I'll do it, but it'll be like putting a pump on a ham.
Speaking of toy vehicles coming out, Mattel has released the first image for their Wonder Woman invisible jet with figure.
Please just tell me it's an empty box.
No, actually, it's
Wonder Woman figure.
You haven't seen the picture yet?
No, I'll have to go look it up.
Yeah. Oh, damn, I wish I said that more directly to you. If you ever found yourself in a situation where you couldn't help but think, what would Princess Leia do? Now you can learn the answer with Carrie Fisher's new advice column, Advice from the Dark Side. Wait. Well, I guess she's a Sith in the sheets. Anyway.
But I'm pumped.
Yes. You can get your Dear Abby style advice from Carrie Fisher, and believe me, she ain't holding back if you've ever seen an interview with that woman.
Well, I'm definitely gonna have to read that column.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. Have you watched the Amazon show Catastrophe yet?
No, I haven't.
Oh, you should watch it. She plays the you know what the show's about, right?
Yeah, is it kind of like Lost, except it's a comedy?
No, nothing like that at all. No, it's an American guy goes to England for a week for business.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, she plays the American guy's mother.
Oh God.
And it's like, at least in the first season, every time you see her, she's smoking and drinking whiskey.
Like a true American mother.
Damn Skippy. And finally, speaking of toys, this is our final story for the evening. I feel like I saved the best for last. This is a special kind of genius. John, somebody made their own Voltron toy out of Toy Story toys.
Okay, that is kind of epic.
Yes, it is. They have found a way to make a Toy Story Voltron, and it's awesome.
I can think of potentially one better.
Soltron. And I'll form the Fro.
Actually, I was going to say Transformers-style Big Bot made entirely out of Batmobiles.
No, that can't happen. The world will instantly explode because reality can't handle that much awesome in one thing.
Yeah.
That would be like Chuck Norris walking into a bar with Mr. T. The universe can't handle it.
Challenge accepted. I'll see what I can come up with.
Oh, God. People all over the world, join hands, get on the Soltron. Anyway. I need to get myself a copy of Blackula. It's been too long. I haven't watched it since I was a kid.
I think it's on Hulu.
Really?
Yeah, I've ever gone like just surfing through the Hulu horror movie section.
Okay, speaking of Jixie, quick question, John. Whenever you see Rufus on Supernatural, does he remind you of the guy who only hunts Blackulas from Venture Brothers?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, it's not just me then.
No.
Thank you.
No. But yeah, no. Do yourself a favor. Go to Hulu tonight. Go just click on movie genres and go to horror and just scroll through and look at some of the gems that are there.
Do they have Blackenstein?
I don't think there's Blackenstein, but there are still some gems.
Oh,
I mean,
God.
some real gems.
For those of you who are wondering, since Jixie isn't able to join us tonight because she's got to be up early in the morning for work, she has started season 9 today. She is very happy that Kaz got laid.
Yep.
And she is now completely obsessed. John and I have, there's actually an entire thread she created on Facebook so we can observe her progress.
Mm-hmm.
When was it we first suggested this to her? A month and a half ago, and we warned her that even it's only a matter of time before she's just all the way down the rabbit hole.
We've been poking at it for a couple of months, but it was about a month and a half, 2 months ago. We're like, look, sit down, watch the first 4 episodes of season 1, and if you're not hooked, we will never say anything again.
Yeah. Well, I think once she got to the end of season 2, there was no going back.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just, and now she's, I love it when she doesn't say what episode she's on or what happened. She just comments. It's one to behold.
She's like, precisely.
Yeah. But anyway, that does it for tonight for High Class Geek News. We are sorry for the long hiatus. Hopefully, Thor won't be such a dick for the next few weeks. And honestly, just if I can leave you with this, just people, for the love of God, be nice to each other. We kind of need it now. I feel like this is something that shouldn't be said, but it apparently needs to be said. For the first time ever, I'm actually going along with that. What the world needs now is love song. I'm now starting to believe it.
Agreed.
Yeah. So I'm your friendly neighborhood geekazoid, Evan Ransom. We have been joined by the Dwarficon himself, that is John Little.
Good night, everybody.
We'll see you next week, as we do every week, usually, at 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Good night, everyone.
Night.